heard Detective Payne say that when he looked at cameras on South 95 and the other road south of Moscow on the date in question, and in conformance with what he alleged in his affidavit of probable cause to arrest Brian, he looked at those videos and he didn't find a car. That screams stuff that's exculpatory to me. I need to know where these videos are. They were collected. The court can see that from the reports that we put in the packet of evidence. The court knows they've been collected, but nobody can tell me where they are. And I'd be prepared to call my next witness.
Okay, go ahead.
Call Brett Payne.
Please come forward. Raise your right hand.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and that's but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last.
Name is Brett Payne, last spelled P-A-Y-N-E.
And there was a part of the affidavit where you talked about 2011 to 2013 Elantras, and then it expanded to 2016 to include the year of 2016 Elantras.
Yes, ma'am.
What I want to know first is what you relied on to expand that search from 2013 to include 14, 15, and 16.
That information was provided to FBI Special Agent Imel, who's a vehicle identification specialist, and that was his determination on the types of vehicles we should be looking for, rather the year range we should look for.
Be the truth, the whole truth, and that's but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
I understand as far as when we get to 2013, but when we go beyond that, what did you rely on to get beyond that?
It would have been his input as an expert in vehicle identification. That's what.
Okay.
Be the truth, the whole truth, and that's but the truth.
Do you recall that south of Moscow on US 95, is the path that you put in your search warrant and affidavit alleging that Brian Kohberger left Moscow going south on US 95?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What did you find?
Nothing to my recollection.
Not one video depicting the car.
To my memory, no.
Not one video depicting the car.
To my memory, no.
Part of your affidavit talks about WSU officers finding white Elantras. And I believe there was an officer that you had some communication with. Do you recall the date you had that communication?
I do not recall the date.
Be the truth, the whole truth, and that's but the truth.
Last week, Detective Mowry told us that he wasn't in charge of these videos, and I need to know where they are. Do you have any idea who the FBI agents are that were also in charge of this?
I don't know off the top of my head. I do not remember.
But if they collected it and gave it to Moscow Police Department or the digital evidence people, isn't it your department that I'd be looking at and say, where is this now?
Yes, ma'am.
Ring cameras have a way of sending out a notice to Ring camera owners to check their data. Is that right?
I believe so.
Was that done in this case?
I do not remember if that was done or not. I don't know off the top of my head. Some of them, certainly not all of them.
I want to talk a little bit more about the video and what's been turned over and what hasn't been turned over to us. Am I correct in believing that the Red Star surveillance video was collected and given to Moscow Police Department?
It reads that way, yes, ma'am.
Where is it?
I do not know. I don't know off the top of my head. I do not remember.
Would I be correct in believing that I should be able to have a videotape from a place called Mundy's Machine?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's Mundy's Machine?
I don't know where Mundy's Machine is, ma'am. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know where Mundy's Machine is, ma'am.
Be the truth, the whole truth, and that's but the truth.
Who do I ask where that video is? Am I correct in believing that Moscow Police Department should be in possession of all of those videos?
It reads that way, yes, ma'am.
And I want to focus a little bit on South US 95. Do you recall that south of Moscow on US 95 is the path that you put in your search warrant and affidavit alleging that Brian Kohberger left Moscow going south on US 95?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
It reads that way, yes, ma'am. Sounds vaguely familiar.
And are you aware that one of the videos that you gave us, the coffee shop there on South 95, that leaving Moscow, you have to pass that covers 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. That covers 5 a.m. to 6 a.m.
I do not recall the time frame for that.
Tell me the truth, the whole truth, and that's but the truth.
I don't know off the top of my head.
And so the time frame in these videos would matter, right?
Certainly.
The time frame in the videos to be meaningful would need to cover a time that surrounds the allegations against Mr. Koberger. Is that fair to say? To be meaningful would need to cover a time that surrounds the allegations against Mr. Koberger. Is that fair to say?
You can say that, yes.
Okay. And are you aware that Watson Kari Construction had a video, and that also has a very limited time frame, like 5 a.m., just 1 hour of video also?
Sounds vaguely familiar, yes.
And that's also south on Highway 95, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the one we talked about today, Monday's machine that nobody can find, that clearly was given to Moscow Police Department, that's also south on 95.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sounds vaguely familiar, yes.
Is there some kind of inventory of these videos, like a general inventory that would help me know what you have and why you don't have the relevant time frame? Are you testifying that Mr. Koberger did not use Highway 95 south of Moscow on November 13th?
I'm testifying that there are various routes that a person could take south of Moscow to include Highway 95. There are also several others.
How many video surveillance attempts did you make to get video from businesses or homes on all of those routes?
I do not recall, but it continued for some time, attempting to find additional video footage.
What did you find?
Nothing to my recollection.
Not one video depicting the car.
To my memory, no.
That screams stuff that's exculpatory to me.